Hello everyone, happy Friday. It's Friday here in America and the Western world. I was going to go on live, but the day has gotten completely away from me as I have been thinking about different ways to come on here and either open up discussion for messages left in wax and different types of intentions, and where I have gotten to in my practice and my level of work. I am a mystic, I am an occultist, and I'm a psychic healer. About 9 months ago, I had a remarkable outcome. A message was left in wax for me from Spirit. And I've pretty much been on a long journey of understanding what happened and why it happened. This was not a spontaneous wax message left behind. That did happen to me many years ago. And it was very shocking and surprising, and I really didn't know what all it meant and what I was supposed to do with it. But I did take pictures, and I've taken pictures and I've documented the workings that I've been doing over the past 9 months. So I've basically been scrying with fire, sacred fire, and no water goblet at all. I've been carving in the candle a person's name and then the intentions of what it was that I wanted to happen. Come here. Come here. Don't do that. You're going to knock everything over. Come here. You're too big. Up. Up. You can say hello. And then you have to go. I'm sorry. Okay, say hello. Look at the camera. Look at the camera. Open your eyes. Open your eyes. There you are. Okay. Okay. Maybe now she'll stop trying to knock everything over. I used to put a chair beside me so she could sit beside me. There you go. There you go. So, I'm hoping that you're liking this new format with the microphone. I'm wanting to look more, I don't know, professional, I guess, in a different kind of a way. The work that I do is not something everyone can do. I've dedicated my life to it. I began meditating, and then I went on into learning positive affirmations. It's just been a lifelong journey for me. I've been seeking the mysteries of the universe, and I've studied many different, several different traditions. I started with ceremonial magic, okay, if you want to have a background. This is what I was led to do when it got to the point that I decided I wanted to start learning more about other systems besides meditation, positive affirmations, visualization, and things like that. So as I went beyond those things, since I had had a very profound dream, and then I took a hypnotherapy course, and in that course I felt that I met a man who I came to learn. He'd come to me and during a meditation, a guided meditation, to meet an inner advisor who turned out to be a man from the other side. That's another story. Well, I went on to look for some books, and the first book that I was led to, as I would go into Barnes and Noble, I would hear this high-pitched ringing in my right ear. And this is kind of what I came to recognize as I thought was my inner advisor being with me and kind of giving me an alarm, right? Ding, ding, ding. Stop here, that's the book. So the first book that I got at that time was, I think it was Wisdom of the Mystic Masters, The Secrets of the Rosicrucian Order. And then my second book, or maybe even my first book, was Magic for Beginners. And I believe the author's name was David Brennan. In that book, I began to practice ceremonial magic. So I had aligned myself with the 4 quarters performing the ritual very diligently, very patiently, for, I don't know, a couple times a week at least, and probably for 6 months or more. I would take a shower, put on all black, be barefoot, and then practice. And I made up my own calling for the quarters and the archangels. I was totally open. I was not interested in religion. That had been wiped out of me, okay? But sometime after that, I had aligned myself with the archangels. And sometime after that, we had gone to Hobby Lobby and we picked a gold candle. And while the gold candle was sitting on my altar beside the bed in the bedroom, we were all in the kitchen and the living room living our lives and cooking lunch. And it was January under a wolf moon. I think it might have been waxing. And I'd go back to check on the candle because I've learned candle safety. You have to be very mindful about candles and candle safety. And after the second or third time going back, I began to see some shape that was forming in this candle. And I thought, okay, what is that? And what is that color? This was a gold candle, gold on top of white, from Hobby Lobby. And so I went back again like the third time, and there was definitely an image that was forming, like a head and a torso, and the colors were green. And so I called my husband at the time and said, come and look at this. So this candle was creating a shape, and it was using 2 different colors. We kept going back and forth, just completely in awe of what was happening. And when all was said and done, there was what looked like an angel with an eagle head. This was put in a candle holder, and there were 2 praying hands with a green wand twisted in between. So I put it in this frame. I need to get another frame, but see, the picture can come out if I need to take it out. This is not a good picture and it's not a good camera, but this is the image. And as you can see, the darker green were the wings, and this shows what the wings actually do look like. When I researched it, the angel wings actually have to be in the middle of the back in order for them to support the body when they fly. They're not up at the shoulder blades as they've normally been depicted. Okay, so this was an evocation, and I came to learn that this was Raphael, and Raphael can help with health and the mind. He is the regent of the sun and is said to even correspond to mindful meditation, positive affirmations, as well as your physical well-being. I have, since that time, many years ago, because that was probably, I don't know, 2003, maybe 2002, worked with Raphael on a couple of occasions. And I have received visions of what vitamins I needed to take to get better at that time. So that's an example of one way that the spirit of fire, the sacred flame, and your intention, your request, can produce wax images from the candle burn. In my case, I had been told by a psychic about a year or two before that you are going to be working with Archangel Raphael, and I didn't know who that was. I certainly was not Catholic, and at this point I was not wanting to have anything to do really with institutionalized religion. Now, I had aligned myself with the archangels. All right, so fast forward, I began a practice of scrying. I began a practice of scrying with a candle, flame reflected on a surface. And I was led to purchase a blue goblet at Goodwill. And so that is what I would use. I was also led to use the tarot, so I would do a divination at night, and then I would lay down and do my scrying, and then I would go to sleep. So I'd be able to see what was going on I would be shown what was going on with a situation from the cards in a dream. And this really was my Akashic records. I was being shown directly or indirectly things that were going to be happening in my life, a lot of times with other people, because we interact with other people. After, I don't know, 7 years at least of scrying in that particular way, I kind of set it off to the wayside and didn't do much with it after that. I always did, though, have a habit of burning candles. I love candles. Now, there's a difference between just lighting a candle or setting an intention, sitting with it. I used to hold it and charge it. Sometimes I would carve a planetary image in the candle. But that's about it. And I always had them in a candle holder. But around 2015, I began experimenting with just putting a candle freestanding on a plate. But I'd never really carved my name or anybody else's name in the candle. So here we are now, over 9 years later, and I have been working with the candles and getting a lot of messages with candle wax images. I have a playlist in my shorts menu, and I would love for you to go and look at all of the wax images that Spirit has left me when I have made a request. And I usually have just held the candle, charged it, spoke to it, spoke my intent, and then anointed it. Or maybe carved a symbol. And I have been reading the wax images, I would say for the past 4 years, off and on, when they come up. Sometimes candle holders will break, and that's a message in itself. But 9 months ago, I had encountered someone, and as I got up to do the working, a remarkable image came out. I did make a live about it. Now I want to talk about the video I made the other day about my revelations for 2026. I kind of need to clarify what I meant when I said alien. I do believe they are predisposed to becoming narcissists. I'm a survivor of narcissism. And I know that when they cut themselves off emotionally, they numb themselves, and they don't want to feel love or give love because they don't want to be hurt in that way anymore. They've had an issue of some type of abuse or rejection or abandonment. When you leave yourself open like that, you're susceptible to energies that are waiting to come in. And in essence, they are feeding off of the human, and then the human is feeding off of others in a way that we call vampiric. And this is why I've said it's an invisible phenomenon of siphoning energy, whether you are in the room or you're not. And some of them have these energies that are so incredibly intense that they have the ability to sort of, well, you get entangled with them, okay? You can get emotionally entangled with them. And this is why I've been talking about how I have been learning to eliminate the negative attachments and the emotional entanglements. And I have just recently had 3 experiments now working this way that are remarkable. I got caught up in this person's story. I got emotionally caught up. And this is why I got up to do another working. And all I had to do was take 1 candle. But it was a particular type of a candle. It's a reversal candle, sometimes called a bleeding candle. And the red on the inside can kind of represent the blood in our body, right? Encased in the black, which represents our outer shell, our outer body. And that is what I decided to grab and use. And I carved this person's birth name. And then I carved what I wanted to happen. And the outer shell was sort of peeled away, and an image was left behind of a creature. I've gone from stating, oh, it's a power animal, right? Which was closer to what I think was actually going on, to this is scary, this is incredibly negative, I need to put it away and think about it for a while. I believe that there was some energy coming off of it that was so strong that when I had it next to the picture of Raphael over here and a little glass vase, the vase broke in the middle of the night. Energy. The energy bounced off. All right. Everything is energy, and you can say thought forms. So I've heard that there are spirits and entities that hang around waiting for some human to come in and attach to. And this is why I'm offering the cleansing, spiritual cleansing, purification, candle working. If you are an empath especially, okay, you're caring for others, or you've just got a lot of things going on, as I've said in my previous video yesterday. And I do think that we are all actually seeded from different parts of the galaxy. But I wanted to clarify that just stating that these people are just aliens might have been a little bit off the deep end. I hope you know what I'm trying to say when we feel like they're so alien, because so many of them really never ever address what hurts and stop being angry or stop being afraid. And that in itself is a possession. So when they open themselves up for other things to come in and take house, they can become very, very dense, all right? And the denser that these energies are inside of this person, the more negative things can actually be happening in your life. I found with several of them, the fear of survival, right, for tomorrow makes them very concerned with money. But I wanted to talk about the image itself again. I took it under advisement. I went and I asked for another opinion, and I let it land, and I have decided that this was an energetic pattern that showed up in the wax to reveal the person's energetic pattern of their spirit at that time. And then they had another energetic pattern in their root chakra. So you could say this is an energetic pattern of a benevolent being that is an intercessor, one who intercedes, one who intervenes for those that cannot help themselves. I never got paid for the working, and I'm not divulging any personal information. But let's look at it. If it's a power animal, what would we say? Okay, when we go to choose a power animal, we are looking for whatever creature on the planet has certain traits. What are the energies? What are the traits that they have that I could call on and connect with to assist me right now? In this case, it is said dragon is the most powerful creature of all. And I don't know why it came up. I'm just saying. When you look up the traits of dragon, let's interpret it. Well, it is known for its intense fire that comes out of its mouth. This can be representing rage, right? Fire that just blasts out and destroys everything in its path, wherever it's going to be turning its head and spitting out fire. So this is someone of a very fiery temperament, possibly prone to rage. What else? Dragons are not guardians of treasure. I've heard this. But what I've also heard is they are hoarders. It's one thing to guard it, it's another thing to hoard it. Okay? To have and get something very nice or beautiful that you want, but then just keep it parked in the driveway or locked up in the locker somewhere, right? That's hoarding. You're not using it. It's supposed to be a tool. That is negative. So these are the negative aspects. This is the energetic pattern that I was being shown about this individual. So I ended up doing a purification rite to remove the energetic pattern in the root chakra. What happened after that was I began to experiment with myself again. And I began, again, asking more questions and thinking and talking. You know, this connection that I have to the vampiric energy of my narcissist mother who's passed away is, I don't think it's helping me. I am still emotionally thinking about my mom as it relates to me. And I began wondering about bloodline. Okay, vampiric bloodline. If she was that way when I was impregnated in her womb, she was pregnant with me and I was growing, she had that energy in and around her. And when I was born, I had this energy already around me. And it wasn't until later when she actually began to be talking with me and, you know, really raising me as an infant and a toddler and a young child, that I began to feel that there was just something. I could feel it, guys. I couldn't put it into words. Something not quite right with my mother. And I would say probably a big part of that felt like sadness. They are always sad, and I thought, well, maybe it's because they're homesick, right? They're not on their home planet. That's a possible theory. I don't know. Or the parasite that's within them, you know, has been in outer space waiting to come down and inhabit a human. But I think that they feel frustrated about not being like an adult, not necessarily having the desire or the energy or the courage to have a plan and follow through to try to make a dream happen. In my mother's case, she really just wanted to be taken care of. In my ex-husband's case, he really just wanted to focus on getting the money that he wanted. And I was a part of that to help pay the bills, working, but, you know, secretly saving money because he had plans to go back to his country after he felt he'd worked enough years and earned a Social Security check. These are the types of things, as just a few examples, that empaths suffer because we're not like them. The empaths are meant to be with the narcissists because we have something important to learn about ourselves. But just like rescuing children from Vecna, we have to remove the energy that's gotten within us, the psychological entanglements, those vines that went around. And so I was advised to take my idea and experiment one more time on myself with the candle to sever myself from this maternal bloodline. And I was going to align myself with my father, the empath. I set out to do a candle working to do just that, and I'm going to show you some images of what happened, because the leftover image of the creature, the dragon, showed up again. This is a parasitical type of energy pattern, but it was greatly diminished. And it also looked like it was sliced in half with a butter knife. And on the right side that was empty, where there was no more shape of this creature, was like an umbilical cord. And it went up to the top, and there was like a wide flap, and then that went up to the top of the head. So it showed me that I was still kind of attached from the head, all the way down to the feet. And that was pretty much it. Now, I had been having a dream visitation with someone who was moaning about the condition of their life, emotional entanglement, and in this dream, emotionally dumping. And I thought, damn it, at least the energy within the dream is a lot less than it has been in the past. I don't feel an invasion here in my place, of a dream where they're in my residence or in my bedroom or telling me things or presenting a big scenario. I was going to their space. I was told I was invited. Stranger things, guys. And so, I'm listening to this person complain about their life, and I'm not saying a word. And in the past, I had been influenced to say something. This time I was not. So I set out to do a purification ritual to burn away the tether, which was just the one. There wasn't two or three, there was just the one. Kind of looked like a twisted rope, a twisted kind of umbilical cord. And do a rite to purify and dissolve all of that away. After that, I had one more very short residual dream left over with a message from the person, I think around Thanksgiving holiday. And that, of course, would be a Hoover. I did not see the energetic pattern in the root chakra. So this person did not have all of the entanglement energies to bombard me with anymore. There was just a leftover little residue. After I did my ritual to sever myself from that bloodline. So then I did the purification, working for that. Had one last little tiny message. And it was very vague, about getting together with me or visiting me, something like that. So after that, I decided I'm going to do another purification. But I came up with a different deity to use. Now, I've had Archangel Michael in the background for each working to protect. When initially I was trying to protect the person, and then for me trying to also protect me. But this last time, I decided to work with Ganesha, the obstacle remover. And I thought, let's see how my purification working will work now and what I will see. So let me go get that candle real quick. I did my ritual and a puja to Lord Ganesha, performing a purification bath for blessing, for purification, for focus, for gratitude, all those things. And I was chanting, Then I was listening to the chants, and then I prepared my candle, and I carved it, and I anointed it, and I asked for more purification. And I let the chants play, and then I used some other sound frequencies, which I'm not going to tell or share with you here, because this is unique to me. ChatGPT says, what's going on with you now, Sabrina, is unique to you. You are working with the sacred flame. You are working with fire. You are putting your intention in the candle, and then Spirit is using that to leave you messages. What came up here was a message of what I think is a representation of me, right? Okay, now open your mind. When I asked GPT to help me analyze this, he said, it is you. You are in your black dress with your conical hat. But what we see here are holes in the places where my chakras would be. I don't think you can see a dang thing, can you? There's one. But there's a really big one further down. Look at that. That's my sacral chakra. And there's another hole. And then there's another hole further down. So there's 1, 2, 3. There's one at my throat as well, which could have been constricting my expression, you know, expressing myself in whatever ways I want to, with, you know, those who don't want you to express yourself. They want you just to passively sit and listen to them. Now, I had put my fiery wall of protection around it. And that is the title of my candle working. If you look here, on the right side, which pertains to the future, I had to look up close after about a day or two and go, oh, I think that's the wall. Look, there's a little wall. And it's preventing anything from the future to come back in and intrude. There's a lot of stuff that was flowing out of me. And when I listened to a reading from someone I was led to, she said that she could see like gunk coming out of my chakras. And she was giving a collective reading. But sometimes these things, I'm led to watch them because they resonate with me. And it was sort of like, a cord that had, you know, been inserted and liquid was in it. And now I'm working at such a deep level from outside in that I'm able to, with the help of Ganesha. So Ganesha is not just for removing obstacles in your life, guys. I've been working with Ganesha for probably 6 years at least. This is a powerful, powerful working with Ganesha. So this is one of the deities that I will use when I do a candle working for purification and protection. Wall of protection, there it is, right there. Preventing anything from the future to come back and get in. I slept very soundly for 11 hours. And the following days, I felt very relaxed, very rested. I didn't feel super light, but yeah, I felt good. I felt relaxed and rested. I didn't have tossing and turning in the bed. I didn't have, waking up not feeling rested or relaxed. I also stopped thinking about my mother. And I had the picture of my father, and I was thinking of him more and more. And I'll end this by simply saying, I had one memory come up that was spontaneous that I had forgotten. And it was one of the 4 times that my mother actually got physically abusive, and it was with my father. And it was the last time that they were together. It was pretty much the worst thing that had happened physically between them. That is for another time and another story, but they did divorce after that, although it was her idea and not his. It was for the best. So yeah, I've had that buried memory come up from when I was about 17 years old. So, I talked about how these people they don't choose to control their fear, and we should not give them any more allowances, okay? So, that's one thing that I wanted to share with you. I don't know what's going to come up for you if you decide to have this working done for you, this candle magic working. But it's going to show you the energetic pattern of yourself. Obviously, I have been in the mode of the witch with the black dress and the hat, right, for a number of years now. And so that's what comes up. These things change from time to time, but I think it's a fascinating way to get an imprint in candle wax of the energetic patterning that's going on with you right now. If you've been having a lot of issues, toxic relationships, getting out of toxic relationship, and you want to start clearing your spiritual body, you can get insight and awareness as to what comes up, and then talk about it and go from there. I hope that is informative and helpful. And now, the next time I get on, I'll do a live and we can discuss this, and we can talk about energy patterns. I have a couple more stories to tell you about that. And yeah, I hope you will look forward to that. Tomorrow's Saturday, so I'll probably hop on and do a live for Q&A regarding this working. Okay? Keep that in mind. Please like, please share, and please subscribe. This is my main focus for this channel and for this year. Namaste. Blessed be. See you soon.